What's going on, you guys? It's your boy X, back in the middle of another video, man. So, I hope all the women had a good Mother's Day. Hope it went swell for you. Me and my mom, we had a conversation because my mom is my world. So me and her had a conversation, and it's men in our family. And not just in our family, but it's men that have like generational curses. For instance, and I want to know you guys' input and what y'all feel about this. So my uncle, he had his first child when he was 16. Then his son had his first child at 16. And then his son had a child at 16. So my uncle had a child at 16. My uncle had his son at 16. Then his son had his first child at 16. And then my cousin's son had his first child at 16. It's a generational curse. I feel like it's up to us to really educate our children, because I have 2 kids, by the way. My son is 10, and in 6 years he'll be 16, right? So he could have a child at 16, but it's up to us as fathers to educate our sons, because I mean, at 16 we have educated, our children enough to know the difference between wrong and right. We know it's wrong to have a child at 16. We know that. We know it's wrong for our daughters to have a child at 16. But it's up to us as fathers and as parents to educate our children. Listen, my cousin had his first child at 16, right? And guess what? He is still with the woman till this day, and still remains in that child's life. That's very, very rare. If your son have a child, or if your daughter have a child at 16, the chances of them still being with that person and them still being together is very rare. It's like a black polar bear, and you ain't never seen a black polar bear. Listen, that is very rare, very rare. I went to school with a girl named India, right? India is super cool. We was in 8th grade. She had her first child in 8th grade. The girl was 13 years old, okay? 13. Yeah, we was about 12, 13 years old. And obviously they're not together, but that's just to give an example on how young a girl can get pregnant. You know what I'm saying? So don't get it twisted. A 13, 14-year-old girl can get pregnant. India had her child when she was in 8th grade. We was 13 years old when she had that baby. But listen, that right there, that comes from a lack of a father figure being in a household. But if you had your first child at 16, right? The chances of your child having a child at 16 is very high. Very high. Very high. For instance, if you have a child at 18, the chances of your child having a child at 18 is very high. So, but that comes from generational curses. That comes from what is educated and what is taught in that household. For real, for real. Now, don't get it twisted. I do blame the man. I do blame the boy. You know what I'm saying? A lot of that comes from the boy and the man. Meaning, as boys, we end up telling these girls these sweet sounding lies, and they end up believing it. You know what I'm saying? but we grow up lying to mama. We grow up lying to mama. So what you gonna do? You gonna end up lying to the woman, lying to the girl. So, but having a child at 16, it comes from it. It starts with the boy. It starts with the young man. You know, because your mother or your daddy has educated you about having unprotected, you know what. So it starts with you as the man. This is my opinion. It starts with you at the end of the day, because you the man that's packing the seed. You the boy that's packing the seed. So it starts with you at the end of the day. She can't get pregnant if it wasn't for you. So it starts with the boy. But having a child at 16, and it happens a lot. It happens a lot, especially amongst not just black folks, but other races as well. Having a child at a young age, for instance, you having a child at 16, you a child yourself. So you got a child raising a child. To think about that. Now listen, I had my first child when I was 25. Listen, I didn't know nothing about being a father. But when I had these kids taught me how to be a father. So I still got growing up to do. I still have to mature. I'm still maturing as a man myself, and I'm 36. I'm never gonna stop growing. You know what I'm saying? I'm never gonna stop learning. So every day, you know, I'm learning to become a better father. You know, I never had a dad in my life. I never had a good dad or a bad dad. I ain't had nan one. But when I had my kids, when I had my son, he's teaching me how to be a man. He's teaching me how to be a father. You know what I'm saying? I never grew up without a father, so I don't know what it is and what it's like to be a father. Yeah, I had my grandfather, my uncles, but that ain't no father at the end of the day. And a woman can't teach a boy how to be a man. Only a man could teach a man how to be a man. Only a woman can teach a woman how to be a woman. That just is what it is. But my cousin had his first child at 16, and he is still to this day with the woman, and they got 2-3 kids. So I applaud him. It's very rare. It's very rare. My cousin is cut from a different cloth. He had his first child when he was 16 and still with the woman. If your son have a child at 16, 17, the chances of your son being with that woman is slim to none. It's slim to none. You ain't gonna find that. That's like a black polar bear. It is very, very rare. Even your daughter have a child at 16, 17. The chances of her being with that man and staying with that man is rare. Is rare. But my cousin, he broke the generational curse. He broke it. And what I mean by that, his granddaddy had his first child at 16, right? And my uncle wasn't in my cousin's life. He wasn't. Then my cousin, who had his first child at 16, he wasn't in his son's life. But now that my cousin was 16 and had his first child at 16, he's in his son's life. He's in his children's life. So he broke the curse. He broke the generational curse. So you have control of breaking generational curses in your family. You know what I'm saying? Curses can be passed down from one person to another. It ain't no different from a drug addiction or alcohol addiction. Curses and addictions can be passed down. But my cousin, had his first child at 16 and still with the woman, and they still together, and they got multiple children. That's very, very rare. because because at the end of the day, listen, having a child while you a child, while you a teenager, listen, that breaks people for real. It really breaks people. But listen, having a child at a teenage age, like 16, it'll make you grow up for real, for real. It'll make you be mature, you know, because you a child yourself. So now you're a parent at a young age. So your maturity gotta, you know, you gotta tighten up out here. But yeah, it's you know, it was heartbreaking hearing it, like, dang, that's a young age. But don't get it twisted. When me and my ex-wife, when we was in high school, you know how many times me and her could have had a baby? We was having unprotected, you know what? But listen, your pullout game ain't as strong as you think it is, though, for real. For real. Your pullout game, you may think your pullout game is strong, but listen, it ain't as strong as you think it is. But you know, we were blessed not to have, me and her was blessed because we was kids ourselves. So we could have had a child before we even walked across the stage. We could have had a child at 16, 17 years old, and we still children ourselves. We still living in mama house. So I was hard-headed, you know. She was hard-headed, you know. But that wasn't in God's plans for us. But at the end of the day, my cousin really broke the generational curse, you know. But it's up to us as parents to educate our kids. And then not only that, having a child at 16, let me tell you something. Having a child at 16, that comes from a lack of either stability in the household and the lack of a father being in the household. Because listen, if a father, especially a loving, caring father, is in the household, best believe that child ain't gonna be having no baby at 16. For real. As long as I'm in my daughter's life active, and as long as I'm in my son's life active, loving, caring, and doing all the things that I need to do as a father, they won't be having no child at no 16. That comes from either a loss of a parent being in the household, a lack of stability, a lack of discipline. For real, because at the end of the day, a 16-year-old is living with their parents, right? So if they have a child at 16, it's something in that household that, how can I say this, that influence their decision as well. Because like I said, there's a lack of supervision, I should say. But as fathers, we need to do better with our sons and educate our sons about, you know, because I got to prepare my son for when he gets 16, when he gets, you know, of the puberty age and everything. And then the same with the mothers. The mothers need to educate their daughters when they get, you know, the puberty stage and everything, you know, like all of that. So as mothers and fathers, we really have to buckle down and tighten up and actually do what we need to do to prevent our teenage children from having kids at a young age. You know, ain't nobody perfect, I understand that, but we really, really, really need to buckle down. Because listen, ain't none of us ready to be a grandparent at an early age, you know. ain't none of us ready to be a grandparent in their 30s, in their late 20s. You know, come on. So, we really need to, we gotta do what we gotta do, you know, as parents to, you know, stay in our kids' lives and remain in our kids' life. But not only that, there's a lack of education. There's a big lack of education that's being ingrained into our children. You know, why you think some of these kids be dropping out of school, dropping out of high school? That's because it's a lack in the household, for real. If your household was right and you was doing what you needed to be doing with your kids, they wouldn't be dropping out of school, for real. For real. But my cousin, man, had his first child at 16, y'all. And he is still, because I'm just now finding this out, he is still with that woman till this day. And they have multiple children. That is very rare. You know, you still with the woman that you made a baby with at 16. Y'all was kids when y'all had a kid. And now you still with that woman. To me, right there, he's a high value man. For real. That's some high value stuff to me. Because listen, they didn't have issues, they didn't have problems like we all do. What couple, what relationship don't have issues, don't have problems? So they weathered the storm and they still together to this day, and I commend him for that, for real. But you know, we really need to remain active in our kids' lives. Remain active, especially fathers, as fathers, because we the one that's packing the seed, you know. And it start with us at the end of the day. Need to stop lying to these women. You know, I mean, it's women play a big part into it too. You know, women talking about they be on birth control, ain't took no medicine. It plays a part, but at the end of the day, it starts with the man. For real, we need to stop lying to these women. Not only that, we need to be very disciplined. You know what I'm saying? Because you know what you're doing, right? So you have all the time to think before you do something, right? So it starts with us. You can prevent unplanned pregnancy as a man. It starts with the man. Unplanned pregnancy starts with the man. It don't start with the woman. It starts with the man. And as a man, you could prevent that from her getting pregnant, and from you having a baby at a young age. It starts with the young man. At the end of the day. Because you gotta think before you do. You gotta think before you act. Just like you gotta think before you say something. But yeah, I commend my cousin for that. He a real stand-up dude. Because I can tell you this, the chance when I was 16 and me and my ex-wife then had a kid at 16, the chances of us being together would be slim to none. It would be slim. Yeah, I'm gonna remain in my child's life, right? But the chances of me being a thing, being a couple, that ain't gonna happen. But yeah, my cousin broke the curse, for real. He really broke the curse. And see, a child, you having a baby at 16, it says something about the parent, though. Don't get it twisted. It says something about the parent, though, too, or parents. For real. So, yeah, just, we just got to make sure we really ingrain the right tools into our children, for real. And it starts with them being at a young age. So, yeah. But I'll catch you guys in the next video, and I appreciate you guys watching. I just wanted to vent to y'all and just talk to y'all. You know, we family at the end of the day. So I believe I could just share, you know, my personal life, or, you know, share information, you know, with y'all, because we close. We family at the end of the day. That's what I look at y'all as. But with that being said, it's your boy X. I'm checking out with another video. Peace.